Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Dr. David Hooper, and today is a really, really special episode. Today, I'm so excited to welcome my guest, my love, my wife, Laura Hooper, to the show. Laura's story is one I've wanted to tell since I started the podcast. It's one of the reasons that I started the podcast. And it includes things like remarkable transformations, clear, amazing signs of resilience, incredible weight loss transformations, undertaking huge endurance events, and amazing strong-willed decisions around careers. Just Laura epitomizes the word hard work. So I'm so excited to bring Laura's story to life for you. And Laura, fancy seeing you here.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. To kick us off.
Yes.
What is your meaning of unstoppable, or what does that look like to you?
It's probably trying to just keep going. So when you've got doubts, when the little voice going, oh, do you need to do this? Like, can you do this? It's just trying to push through and keep going. Because I'm big with self-doubt. Don't believe in a lot of things I can do. So I feel like just still doing them is like unstoppable to me.
It sounds pretty unstoppable to me. And I know a lot of people listening will feel exactly the same as well. And we're going to get into how you get to that point. Because whether you like hearing about it or not, you are one impressive person and you've achieved a hell of a lot. And we're going to get into how she's done that as well. And there's going to be some real nuggets that you can take away today. So I'm excited to get into your story. For those people who haven't met you yet, how would you introduce yourself to them? Like, who are you and what do you do?
Oh, just I'm an accountant and I've worked very hard to get to where I am. I spent many years studying and giving up our free time to get to where I am. So yeah, just feeling quite hardworking. I'm quiet. I'm introverted. No one really knows what the work I do or anything. I'm not one to brag about that, but
What else? You're so much more than just an accountant. Tell us more about what else is going on in your life.
Well, obviously, I'm a wife. I've got two wonderful animals that are our world. Yeah, just me.
And I don't normally actually ask guests this, but how do you find being an introvert?
It can be quite frustrating, actually, because like I'm really happy. Like my happy place, you know this, is at home. The four of us. That's how I recover. That's just my happy place. And I do find it quite frustrating that people don't understand that. But it's also quite frustrating in that I feel like it sometimes holds me back from things, like at work, for example. Like in this happens sometimes, but not often. I'm not one to speak up. I have opinions and views, but I don't speak up about them. So it's often you can get overlooked, I suppose, when you're like that. So it does get quite frustrating. I feel like the world is catered to extroverts. If you're introverted, you're just a bit weird. Like, it's what it feels like. It's probably not. It's probably just how I take it. But yeah, it's a frustrating place to be sometimes. But I love it, obviously, because that's who I am.
It's different people's perceptions, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people don't get us.
Yeah.
Most people don't get us.
No, they don't.
Two very introverted people who just like to be together in a room with our girls. Like, we always used to say, like, you could drop us in a field in a tent and never see another human again.
A zombie apocalypse and we'll be fine. Chill out together. We'll be absolutely fine. And I think people find that really strange.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you're surrounded by extroverts, they find it hard to understand.
So, the big thing for 2024 is that you went from not being a runner to smashing a marathon in 11 weeks. That doesn't seem normal, firstly.
No.
Before we get into like what that actually looked like, why?
I don't know. I do have a habit of every once in a while trying to put myself under extreme pressure to achieve something that I would never normally do. It's just something, just different. Push myself in an aspect that I don't normally push myself, because I've never been the most athletic person. Never been a big fitness fan when I was younger. But yeah, I just thought to do this, it was a massive challenge, and sometimes you don't quite know your limits until you try and push them. And yeah, it was like that, and to be honest, at the time I was like, oh, it'll help us lose some weight as well. But yeah, it was just being able to say I could do it, and that I did do it. And I've always got, because obviously we've done a few fitness events, which I've never taken seriously. And I've always been quite negative when I look back and talk about them, don't I? Like, we did Tough Mudder, and I'm like, oh, didn't do it properly. Did the Great North Run, didn't do it properly. So I was like, okay, let's try and do this one properly.
You say didn't do it properly. If you start and finish an event, you're doing it properly. You finish an event, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but I feel like I've got this like perfectionist side of us, is that the Great North Run, the longest in training I ran was a mile.
Sure.
So to do that in a half marathon after running a mile was not good. It was like the first 2 minutes my calves cramped up, and I just was so miserable the whole time. So like, because I've got that side of my brain that's like perfectionist, I'm like, well, I didn't give it my all, like, so it doesn't count.
Okay.
I don't know why I do that. It's very frustrating.
So we've talked a lot about what you didn't do then.
Yeah.
What about the did do part of this then? So it was January. We booked this because we'd had a glass of wine and thought, we can do this in 12 weeks, no problem. It turned out it wasn't even 12 weeks, it was more like 11. And so, yeah, take us back to that point then. So it was like 6 months ago, you'd never ran or barely ran before, 11 weeks to get ready for this marathon. What were you thinking? Like, what was it, just excitement, or what were you thinking?
It was excitement when we were talking about it with our glass of wine. Then we booked it, and then it was just sheer anxiety and stress. And I was like, yeah, what have I done? But it was like, I can't really explain what was going on in my head. I was very, I'm an anxious person anyway. I get very anxious about a lot of things. So was that. My anxiety was just through the roof. But it was also like, I want to do this properly. Like, on our runs on a night, if I didn't run the goal I wanted to run, I would get so frustrated with myself. But it was just trying to keep pushing through that and keep going so I can actually do it. Because at the start, I couldn't even run a mile. Doing laps around our estate, I just couldn't do one lap. So one lap's probably, was it less than a mile and a half?
Yeah, it was about 1.2 miles.
I couldn't even do that. So at the start, it was scary. I remember running, and I think we did this 3 mile one, so a couple of laps. And in my head, I was like, oh my god, I've got to do this like so many more times on this marathon.
I know, yeah.
And I was like, oh my god. But yeah, it's just how to keep going. Because I had that fear of, I know you were very much not saying, not putting any pressure on us or anything. You were very supportive. But it was like in my head, I had that fear of, I don't want to let people down. So I've got to do this. Like, all the times you would come running with us and dealing with my grumbles and my injuries, and I was just like, I can't not do this properly. I can't stop.
But that's a big part of doing anything, I think, is that accountability. And I think it can be so powerful if you attach your accountability to somebody else. Because I think you can let yourself down really easily.
Yeah.
Not you, just anyone can just be like, I don't fancy this today. Like, I'll be fine. And then when you don't do it, then comes the shame and the guilt. But you get over it, because then the next time around, you're like, I still don't fancy it.
Yeah.
But if that person is your partner and you're doing this together, and you're like, I really don't fancy this, but I need to help them as well, then that accountability is like so strong, I think. Because it's like part of my mission. I said this on a podcast with Sheila a few weeks ago, that the reason I get up, it's all attached to like when we met, I was like, I want to give you this incredible life. And I'd probably, if it was just me now, I'd be like, oh, I don't need to grind. Like, you know, well, probably not because I'm a bit wired.
Yeah.
But it's even more powerful when I'm like, oh, I'm doing this for Laura. Like, I'm doing this for our family. Like, it's so powerful, so motivating. It's actually beyond motivating. It's like just something you have to do. Yeah. So take us back to that then. So we're scared, we're a bit anxious, a bit excited. For those people who are in the same position as you were then, who've never run before but want to do a marathon, what did those early weeks of training look like? Like, what did they include in terms of your running, your nutrition, or your recovery? Take us back to that first kind of month.
Yeah, so the first bit, it was just slowly building up to the point of being able to run a mile. So it was, when we're going out, we're just picking like a lamppost to run to. Just like having those short goals so that your mind is like, okay, I've just got to get her there. I've just got to get her there. And not thinking like, oh God, I've got to try and do the whole way around. Yeah. Like just focusing on those little bits and extending those little bits as you go through the training, which really helped. Because I think if it was to be just us go out and go, right, go run this whole lap, I would have myself been like, I just can't do it. Because again, back to that self-doubt, negative talk that I do in my head a lot. It's just like I can't do it. So it was really good having those short goals to run, do a bit of walking, run again. So that was like the actual training side of it, but it was the recovery which I didn't really realise how much I would need to do.
Okay.
So the foam rolling nearly every night, stretching to try and loosen off my muscles because it was new, like the increase in miles was so rapid. Yeah. I gave myself such a short period of time. I really had to look after that and look after my legs. So
what did that look like?
So it would be coming home and we would do stretching, would be in the living room stretching my legs, and then foam rolling. But sometimes I would have a bath in what were they called again?
Salts.
Epsom salts. An Epsom salt bath to try and like loosen my muscles, and then come out, do my stretching, do my foam rolling, taking lots of ibuprofen, paracetamol when legs got bad. And yeah, just trying to think of things that helped us on my run to try and ease the pain. So I had them calf sleeves which helped with my circulation to stop my calves cramping up. Got some nice new running training, so that was good.
What about the nitty-gritty of this recovery then? Because I agree that this is like, I like 80% of doing a marathon. The running's like the easy bit. It's like getting to the start line is the hard bit. Because you pick up niggles, you're getting tweaks. Obviously your mind's like, oh, do I want to do this anymore? Yeah. So on a night, what would that look like? Like give us what were you stretching, how long were you doing it for, what was the foam rolling, dates you were doing, what about the machine gun thing? Oh, yeah. Take us through that, because people might be like, I want to build in recovery into my week, but I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah, so I found that my legs were better when I would do, so I'd stretch out my calves, and then my quads, because that's where most of my pain was, because my quads would get so tight that when I was landing, there was just like shooting pain. Even just walking, there was shooting pain. So stretching those out. And then we got one of those massage gun things. And I would just be sat on the sofa, just with it on my legs, just like when we're watching Friends or whatever we're watching. Just sitting there and just like machine cutting my legs. But it felt like hours, but it probably wasn't. A lot of that. But that was, I think, the hardest bit for me. Was the recovery stuff. Because it's like, the foam rolling. Trying to foam roll my quads. We were sometimes weren't the best friends at that point. Because it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, and to think, I've got to do this so that I'm able to run. It's very, I used to get very frustrated with it, and it was quite sore. Yeah, just trying to stay on top of that, stretching, foam rolling, baths, anything to try and ease the pains in your legs, because you're right, that is the hardest bit. And then having to then go out and run the next night when you've got these pains and you're just like...
Did you say I was right there?
Just on this one occasion.
That is the first time in nearly 11 years I've been right, and we've got it on camera.
Just once.
Amazing.
The one and only time you'll ever be right.
Oh, but yeah, so like, I remember we used to do like 6 o'clock, 20, you stretch for 20 minutes while I foam roll, then swap, you foam roll, I stretch for 20 minutes. And we just do like simple things. It would be 30-second to 1 minute stretch, 10 times on each hamstring, repeat for your quads, repeat for your calves, and that would take you to about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's not like rocket science, it's just doing it, isn't it? Yeah. Getting it done, because it is like, oh, I'll just miss that tonight. And then you go on a run and your calf's a little bit tight, and you go, oh, I shouldn't have missed that stretching thing. Okay, cool. So that was like the recovery element. And that, how many times a week would you say you did that in those 11 weeks?
We did it most nights, didn't we? It was probably 4 to 5 nights a week, I would say.
I would.
Yeah. Quite often during the week we would do it.
Yeah. And then before the long run on a Sunday. Okay. Get into the practicalities of the running then. So what did your training look like? When did those short run-walk periods?
Yeah.
And how often did you run a week?
It was 3 to start with, wasn't it? It was 3 times during the week.
Yeah.
And then we'd do one long run on the Sunday. Which to start off with, I think was just 3 miles, wasn't it? And then we would increase. So we kept our weekday runs the same. So just around the estate, a couple of like walk runs really. But then our long Sunday runs would, I think I was upping it by 3 miles each time. So it was like 3, 6, just up by 3s really. But I think the longest we went was 18. Yeah, 18 was the furthest we did. But yeah, to be honest, I really enjoyed the weekend runs because I think just more energised, you've had your sleep, you've eaten properly. So yeah, they were nice runs.
Well, so on paper, that doesn't sound too bad, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Like 2 nights during the week, 1 long run on the Sunday.
Yeah.
Because the ones during the week were never longer than 8 miles.
Yeah.
It was like 6 quite often, 4 in the early days.
Yeah.
So it kind of like saved pushing the long run on a Sunday when you had a bit more time.
Yeah.
So for those people who are thinking, I haven't got time, there's plenty of time for you to do it. When it comes to injuries and things, another thing just to mention is, and I think you mentioned this when it comes to like try to do too much too soon.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people want to run 3 miles and then they try, but they can't physically or mentally do it, and then they fall off the wagon.
Yeah.
But doing the run walk stuff is amazing. That's how you run an ultra marathon. So there's no like aim in doing that. And then when it comes to the speed, people try and run too quick. They're trying to sprint these miles. Like I've got a friend who texts me all the time being like, oh, I've just run 1 mile. And I'm like, you've been stuck at 1 mile for like 2 years because he sprints it.
Right.
And he's like, I'm wrecked after a mile.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, it's like managing that load and intensity and things, which you were able to do. Okay, so we're moving through this process. Marathon's coming up. No marathon training, or no big goal actually. It's never just positive successes. Take us to one of the low moments. Talk us through it. What happened?
Yeah, so my legs were bad. I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks before is when they got really bad. And I remember us going round to do a weeknight run. I think we were meant to do probably 4 miles. I got halfway through the first lap, so not even half a mile. And I couldn't. Like, every footstep was just agony. And I remember coming up like one of the streets, and I was just in tears. And I I mean, how we get through these things, I do not know sometimes. But I was just like, I was in such a bad place. Like, mentally, I was in tears, couldn't do it. And I just had all these thoughts going through my head, like, what are you doing? Who do you think you are? Like, you think you really do this? And then I was like, oh my god, I'm so close, and oh my god, I'm going to let people down. And you are so good. You're just like, it's fine, we don't need to do the marathon at this point, like, we can push it back. And I'm like, no, because that's just letting people down. Like, I knew my parents, my brother and his wife were coming down to watch it. And I was like, they've gone out the time and effort to come down. And I was just like, yeah, in such a bad place that night.
Yeah.
And just crying and just having to walk back. Because I was just like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. And it was really hard. And to be honest, I think from that point on, I think we had quite a few of the weeknight runs where it was like that. To the point where I think we stopped, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Stopped doing weeknight runs because it was too much. It was too much for us.
But that's the point of the whole plan thing.
Yeah.
It's like the plan changes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about you have to get to the finish line.
Yeah.
Get to the start line. Like, manage your legs. You don't need to have run a marathon in training to be able to run a marathon on the day.
Yeah.
So that's all it came down to. So that was the low moment. How did you pick yourself up to keep going then? Because that was a few weeks before the marathon. Had all this setbacks, heartache, injuries, mind's gone. Do I want to do this? I'm in a bad place. How did you still get to that end point, like the start line? Because
that fear, or I don't know if it's fear. It's that feeling of I don't want to let people down. It started to outweigh that I can't do this. It was like, you're just going to have to. Like, you just have to. You can't not do it. And you just have to just go. You've got to keep going. Because if you either do it now, like do the training runs, like the long ones on a weekend, and be in a bit of pain now, but then you'll be able to do the marathon. Well, like if I just give up now, I'll not do that run. I'll not do the marathon at all.
Yeah.
Because I'll just give up.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was that. Don't let people down. So became stronger than can't do this.
Yeah. Love that. And that mental toughness though that you develop by through it, that's the value of like doing these things, these big events, because you find out who you are. Are you a quitter? Are you going to allow this to derail your complete ambitions and plans and things? And yeah, you completely rose up and got to that start line, which was amazing. So, marathon day comes. How were you feeling on the day? So 11 weeks ago, you'd never ran. Marathon day. Talk us through that day, this before, on the start line.
Bricking it. Yeah, I was so nervous. Like, whoa, that. Yeah, I remember, obviously we went down to Leeds for it. We stayed over the night before. And to be honest, the night before, I've had probably the best night's sleep I've ever had in my life. I was just like flat out. But then waking up that morning, and I was just on edge. I felt, obviously I had a few little mishaps.
What mishaps?
Well, I forgot to charge my watch or my phone. Well, no, I thought I'd plugged it in, but I mustn't have actually turned the switch on, so my phone and my watch weren't charged, so they were going to die.
That's annoying for any runner, no matter marathon or not. But
if it's not recorded on my watch,
I've
not done it. How will anyone know I've done it? I don't have the proof on my watch. But yeah, so that was, but it was what it was. We got there. And just standing at that. And waiting around. We got our numbers. We attached the little tracker thing to our legs. I'm like, right, okay. And I was there, and I was like, watching all these people come who actually look like athletes and runners, and I was like, I felt like I didn't belong. Yeah, it was scary.
There's so much, for everyone to relate to there, though, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like, what? So, at a marathon where you can sign up for, what makes an athlete? Why aren't you an athlete? You've done the training, you're in the gear, you've got a place just like anyone else. They probably think the same, like, back at their, they're probably like, oh, I don't deserve to be here.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Well, I think it's just genuinely, like, you grow up in a world where, especially when I was younger, in your formative years, you would see these women on TV and magazines, and the way they're like sticked in. You see, even now, people doing fitness things, and they're all like ripped.
Sure.
I never feel like I see anyone who looks like me doing these things. So it's like that. I'm like, oh, well, I'm a bit overweight because obviously I put weight on when I was eating too much. Well, enough to fuel us. But, so it was that. And I was just thinking back to, like, I don't look like how I think I should look here. Like, I'm not stick thin, I'm not muscly, I was a bit flabby, still am. But, like, yeah, that. Just brings you back to being like, I'm not quite, don't look like how I should look.
Yeah.
Or think I should look.
So how did you not allow those things to stop you then? Because that'll stop a lot of people from actually doing it. Why didn't it stop you?
Well, by the point of the run, I was just like, well, I'm here now, so I've got to do it. But I think, I don't know if this is a good, not coping thing, but we ran, and it was winter, and it was pitch black. So I was like, no one can see us. Like, I'm fine. No one can see what I look like, so I'll just keep going. We ran on country roads, and this isn't a good way for people to deal with it, but I was like, I'm in the middle of nowhere, no one can see it. But also, it's like, when you get there and when you're running, you don't take into consideration anyone around you.
Yes.
Like, you don't look at other people. You don't, like, you're too busy focused on just trying to put one foot in front of the other and keep going. Like, I've got no idea who was on that run after we started. Don't know if we've seen people before or not, but it was just, you just go, you've got to just do it.
Yeah.
There's no one cares.
No one gives a shit.
Yeah, and that's something that has helped us in a way, because it's like, really no one gives a shit what you look like. Like, when you're doing these things, they're so busy on their own stuff. Like, just do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Someone think,
How was it?
great, yeah.
Yeah?
Did our first half marathon in about 20 minutes quicker than we thought planned.
Yeah.
And I was feeling good.
Yeah.
It was, I felt really positive. It was nice. It was nice running along the canal and back. And the first bit was all my family, which was nice. Passed some sweets and drinks over. That was good.
And Rebecca had made a sign.
Yeah, she
which
made
is
a
so
sign.
lovely.
Yes, which we've still got in the house.
Yeah.
She's going to go up in the gym, I think. So that was really nice. That was a little boost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt really good in that first half. Just, my legs felt good. My, like, cardio-wise, I felt good. And it was just...
Because how did you approach that then? So you've done all your training, got the marathon. Was it then, right, run 26 miles?
No.
So what was the game plan?
It was running... It was run-walk. I can't remember. Was it run?
It's the time.
Yeah, it was 25 on, 5 off. So then we kind of had a plan, knowing that I would get a little walk, and that would be my little refuel. I would have my drinks, my snacks. Snacks made that run better.
Well, that's what I was saying as well. Marathons are like... I just see a Luna in the back. Just massive puff and puff.
Life's hard.
She's lying next to a ball, and she's just... Yeah, grumping. Because the cat's outside as well, and she isn't. Anyway, but the marathon's like a big picnic. You just walk run 26 miles and eat a lot. Yeah. So you were 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, and just repeating that for the first half marathon. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So we get the halfway point. Halfway through, what about that second half? What did that look like?
So the first half of the second half, I think, was going quite nicely. Okay. The same way, because of the way the route was. You had to go like out and back, out and back. Out and back, out and back. And it was fine until I was on that, coming back across the start finish line. And I was like, no, I've got one more of these to do. Like, it was just getting very, very hard. My feet, like, swollen, I was getting blisters. It was just so hot, my feet were so hot.
It was literally like nearly 15 to 20 degrees hotter than what you've ever run because of just how the weather. I mean, it was a hot day for England in March, so that was a shock, wasn't it? So we'll get to that point when, again, it's like that whole plan thing. No marathon is ever just good. So what was that moment for you when you were going and you were like, I remember you having blisters, swelled feet, take us back to those miles. When was that? Do you remember?
I think that was about mile 18 or 19. I'd hit like the wall basically, or I was certainly coming up to it because I thought that point was bad, and then it just progressively got worse. So yeah, the start of my wall hitting, it was my feet, and I had to stop. Took my shoes and socks off, Vaseline them up, but you could see already the blisters that were coming. So that was just like hot pins. Every time my foot moved, it was just like, oh, pain. So we're coming back up the canal, and again, I hit that point mentally where I was just like, I can't do this. Mm-hmm. I can't do it. Like, I was crying, wasn't I?
You were.
I was clinging onto your hand, dragging us forward. I was like, I can't.
Before we get into like how you got through those last 6 or 7 miles, how did you feel about me at that point? Because my job was to help, just support you to get around. Yeah. So yeah, what was you feeling straight at that point?
Because you were just like, just keep going. And honestly, in my head, I was just like, just shut up. Just stop talking to us. Just shut up. Stop being so positive. Which it's just, I was like, just stop it. And I just really wanted to stop, didn't I?
Yeah.
I was like, just let me stop here. I can't do this, just let me stop. And you were just like, no, you just gotta keep going. And I've never been so angry, I don't think. Just irritated with you. I was just like, But I'm glad, obviously, you're there. You are massive for me in those situations. Even if at the time I don't appreciate it.
I remember it being like, my thing was just like, just keep moving. Just keep moving. Because again, people think that if you sit down, the moment you sit down, I think it's over.
Yeah.
It's like, I've got comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable. It's like anything. It's like when you're in life, when you get your house and you get your car and you get your permanent job and you're making 30 grand a year or whatever, and you go, life's comfortable. Suddenly the dreams and big goals go out the window, and like that huge ambition you had, you're not putting the work in now because you're watching Netflix every night and all that type of stuff. It's the same in every aspect. So it's the same in marathons, where if you stop and sit down, take your shoes off, I'll just have 5 minutes. That 5 minutes turns into half an hour, which turns into you never getting back up. So even for you just to keep walking, that was like a major thing that you were able to do. Yeah. And that, spoiler, helped you go and like smash this thing. So like, it was tough at the time, but it probably taught you a lot about yourself as well, which we'll get into in a minute. So take us forward then. So like miles 18, 19, 20, 21, really tough. Last couple of miles to finish this off. How was that? Did you start to be like, I can't believe I'm about to do this? Or what was the situation?
At the end, just so relieved.
Right.
Just like, oh my God, I've done it. Which is great. But yeah. I don't know if I ever had the moment of being like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this.
Right.
Until I crossed the finish line, I was like, I've done it! Yay!
Okay, so across the finish line, you've done a marathon. First person in your family, your side of the family, to have done a marathon. How does that feel now, saying that?
That's great. I do feel so proud of what I did. It was such a big challenge, and yeah, it's a great feeling to be like, yeah, I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it. I've stuck at it and done it properly.
And how has that helped in other areas? Because I think we're going to have, we'll definitely have a part 2 in 2025 when you hit other milestones.
Yeah.
But how is the things that you've done, as in the marathon, the build-up, overcoming injuries, managing your time effectively, keeping on going when your feet are torn to shreds and your knees not working, overcoming the limiting beliefs of I can't do this, I'm embarrassed, I'm so slow, like what are other people thinking of me? There's a lot there, but then to do it and achieve it, how does that then impact you in your life and what else you're doing?
It's just proof like I can. It's when I am coming up against something tough, like obviously I'm still doing my exams. It's just like I can do it. It does help change from being like the limiting belief of it's not possible, like, to me, okay, well you've done that. If you can do that with all the stress and pain that you're in there, you can do it with this. You can just keep going. Like, I think that's the key thing for me was just keep going.
So the marathon, obviously, I think, has allowed you to do like you. We aren't going to talk about your studying because I'm going to save that for the second part of this.
Okay.
But I've studied and worked out of work twice as hard since you've done the marathon.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Probably.
Probably. Yeah. No.
And like you've worked longer, but it's been easier as well, I think, because background of this is Laura and I study 2 or 3 times a week most Sundays because Laura's working towards her exams. So normally it's a grind to do that.
Yeah.
But I think the last 6 months has been easier. So, and that's possibly because of the mental toughness that you've developed because of the marathon.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's different benefits and things. What about those people who are in your position, who want to achieve something great? Doesn't have to be a marathon, could be. Might be starting a business, might be changing job, might be looking for the relationship. What would you say to them who maybe they're terrified of starting?
Just start. Like, just do that first bit, whatever it is. Not like it's scary. It provides anxiety. It's all sorts. But if you just go, like, what's the worst that could happen? You know, like, I know, like, with the marathon, the worst that could happen, I don't do it. Like, I can't do it. Or, like, I stop because I'm injured. Like, it's not the end of the world. There's always going to be, like, something you're scared of doing. It's always going to be that. And you can't live your life being like, but I know, well, I don't think I'm the person, like, type of person to do that.
Yes.
There's no type of person to do anything. If you do it, you're that type of person.
Love that.
So it's trying to think like that a bit more. So yeah, just go for it.
What about those people who want to do a marathon, like, but never ran before?
Yeah, just give yourself a bit more time.
Sure.
Than we did. But just slowly build up. Like, just build up, run, walk. You don't have to run straight away, like, 10 miles. Like, we did a mile, run, walk. Like, it's fine. Do the couch to 5k thing. Like, just slowly build yourself up. Recover your legs properly. Fuel properly. Because that, I think, happened on one of our long runs where I hadn't eaten properly. And I just had no energy. And I was constantly throughout the training running, like, walking the tightrope of I need to eat because I need to fuel. I'm not scared to eat. I'm like, I don't want to eat because I don't want to get big. So it's walking that line, but if you want to do it, you've got to fuel your body. You can't be on low calories or lower your calories and do that properly.
I think that's a common misconception with running.
Yeah.
People think, I'll run and lose weight.
Yeah.
When actually a lot of the time it doesn't work like that.
No.
Because even if you're on low calories or go for a fasted run, you get home and your body goes, oh, I need energy.
Yeah.
So you lose all control and eat after you run.
Yeah.
And so...
Yeah, because didn't I say that to you at one point? Because after my runs, I was never hungry.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, why am I hungry.
Sure.
Like, why am I just wanting to stuff my face full of food? It's like, well, because you're properly fueled. So you don't need that afterwards. You kind of like, you've had it. Well, definitely ignore that and just fuel properly and go for it.
Because it's the different aims, isn't it? Rather than you're training for fat loss, you're training for performance.
Yeah.
You're training to perform at the
Yeah.
marathon. So yeah, it's that like goal setting and understanding how that affects your nutrition and all these different things. Mm-hmm. Amazing. What about the rest of 2024? Any big goals? Any plans? What's it going to look like?
Well, I've got one big goal.
Mm.
One big goal to get my exams finished.
Okay.
Which should hopefully be December.
Amazing.
Finish the year strong. Yeah, just taking over with that thing.
Any more marathons?
None planned at the minute.
But that doesn't mean forever, or
maybe next year.
Maybe next year. Yeah.
I did enjoy it. It'll be good now. I'll try and beat my time. So yeah, that's mine, I think.
And what about if people want to keep in touch with you? Where do you hang out, and how can they follow you?
Well, in standard introverted type of style, I don't post a lot, but it's just my name. You can just find Laura Hooper. I think it's Laura Hooper 16.
Why 16?
That's the year we got married. That's the year I turned into Laura Hooper.
Is that right?
Yes. Why else would it be?
I had no idea. I just thought you'd randomly picked that number.
No. It's the year we got married.
It is. Well, there you go. Big.
All these years
There
and
you
you've
go.
not known.
No, I did not know that. Did not know that. Wow. There you go. Big revelation.
Learn something new every day.
So follow Laura on Instagram.
Yeah, I think I'm Laura Hooper 16.
I think, yeah.
And then I'm just Laura Hooper everywhere else.
Laura Hooper everywhere else.
Yeah. I mean, I post nothing, but you can find us there.
Well, Laura, it has been my pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. Been good.
And we'll do another one when your chartership's finished and you're a relaxed woman.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Remember to like and subscribe at Dr. David Hooper on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Facebook. Find us on YouTube at Dr. David Hooper. And find us on Spotify, the Unstoppable Introvert Project. Please like and rate the episodes. It helps us share them with those who really need it. And remember, your introversion isn't the thing that'll hold you back. It is the thing that will catapult you towards greatness. Until next time.
Bye.
That's not how it
What
finishes.
What's it?
Until next time, stay unstoppable.
Stay unstoppable.
God's sake.